Trump just posted that Barack Obama conspired to overthrow the United States government in 2016. There's one small problem with that claim. Obama was the president in 2016. So, according to Trump's logic, Obama overthrew himself. And if that's not absurd enough, Sidney Powell is back. You remember Sidney Powell, the lawyer who claimed Hugo Chavez, who died in 2013, rigged voting machines in 2020. The same Sidney Powell who pleaded guilty to election interference in 2023. She's now working with the Department of Justice investigating elections. You can't make this up. If you're new here, I'm Jordan Vale, and we're building a community of people who refuse to stand by while democracy is under attack. We need voices like yours in this fight, so hit that subscribe button. Let me walk you through what happened earlier this week, because it's a perfect encapsulation of how absurd things have gotten. On Wednesday, January 28th, the FBI raided a Fulton County elections facility in Georgia. According to ABC News, FBI agents seized 2020 election ballots from an elections facility in Georgia. Fulton County officials said the FBI seized original 2020 voting records while serving a search warrant at the county's Elections Hub and Operations Center. From ABC News reporting the next day, Rob Pitts, the chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, said at a press briefing that the FBI seized 700 boxes of materials. And according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, United States Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was present at the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center as the FBI conducted the raid.
The FBI raiding the election office in Fulton County, Georgia. After President Trump lost the election in 2020, the president then asking elections officials in Georgia to find 11,780 votes. So what are FBI agents looking for now? Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, FBI agents searching the elections office in Fulton County, Georgia, as President Trump orders the Justice Department to investigate his false claim that the 2020 election was stolen. Fulton County officials say the agents, armed with a search warrant, were seizing records related to the 2020 elections, including ballots.
Have the ballots actually left the building?
Yeah, they're leaving the building right now.
Just 1 week ago, Trump declaring prosecutions are next.
People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections.
Joe Biden won the popular vote in 2020 by more than 7 million votes, and the Electoral College 306 to 232. His victory in Georgia was confirmed by a full statewide audit and a hand recount. At the time, Trump tried to pressure Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to find him the votes he needed.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Trump was later indicted in Fulton County on charges related to alleged election interference. That case dismissed late last year. David, even if President Trump had been able to find those 11,000 votes in Georgia, it would not have been enough to win the 2020 election. He would have still had to flip several other states. The Electoral College wasn't close. At the time, the president's own Attorney General Bill Barr determined there was no widespread voter fraud in the election. But now the Justice Department under Pam Bondi, quick to comply with the president's wishes. David?
Pierre Thomas live in Washington. Pierre, thank you.
Now here's the context. From ABC News, the FBI's action comes after Trump has repeatedly made baseless claims that there was voter fraud in the 2020 election, specifically in Georgia, that contributed to his election loss. Georgia officials audited and certified the results following the election, and numerous lawsuits challenging the election results in the state were rejected by the courts. So they're reinvestigating an election that was already audited, certified, and upheld in court. But it gets weirder, because hours after the FBI raid, Trump went on a conspiracy theory posting spree. According to ABC News, among the statements posted and reposted by Trump following the FBI's actions in Georgia is one on the 2016 election that falsely claims that Barack Hussein Obama falsified intelligence and conspired with foreign powers, not one, not two, not three, but 4 times to overthrow the United States government in 2016. And here's where ABC News points out the obvious absurdity. In addition to being baseless, the claim ignores the fact that Obama was president in 2016, so if he tried to overthrow the government, he would have been overthrowing himself. Let that sink in. Trump accused the sitting president of overthrowing his own government. Obama was the president. He was the government. The claim that he conspired to overthrow the government he was running is monumentally stupid. But Trump wasn't done. According to ABC News, late Wednesday night, Trump reposted to his social media platform a claim that Italian military satellites had been used to hack into U.S. voting machines to flip votes from Trump to Joe Biden. Yes, Italian military satellites. And here's the best part about that particular conspiracy theory. According to ABC News, citing the book Betrayal, The Final Act of the Trump Show in 2021, then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows directed both the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense to look into the matter. The conspiracy theory was brought to the White House by a woman who went by several aliases, including the Heiress, and was known at the Pentagon for her claimed ties to Somali pirates. Yes, really. The claim traced back to someone with alleged connections to Somali pirates. So on Wednesday, we had the FBI raiding Georgia elections offices and Trump posting that Obama overthrew himself and Italian military satellites rigged the election based on intelligence from someone connected to Somali pirates. And then the following morning, Thursday, something else happened. According to ABC News, it appears that Sidney Powell is back. In a post on X Thursday morning, DOJ official Ed Martin posted a picture of himself with Powell, writing, "Good morning, America. How are ya?" From Alternet, the day after FBI agents searched a Georgia election center looking for records on the 2020 election, Ed Martin, a Trump appointee to the U.S. Department of Justice, posted a photo of him with Powell. The Bulwark's Will Sommer responded to Martin's tweet. After FBI raid on Georgia election office for 2020 ballots, top DOJ official posts a picture with leading election conspiracy theorist Sidney Powell. Attorney David Colapinto tweeted, "Are these two in charge of recounting the ballots?" Now let me remind you who Sidney Powell is, because this is important. According to NPR's reporting from October 2023, Sidney Powell was a campaign lawyer for Trump after the 2020 election. She vocally spun conspiracy theories about fraud, implicating Venezuela, Cuba, China. At one press conference, she even baselessly claimed voting machines could flip votes, and she attended a White House meeting with Trump where it was suggested she be appointed special counsel to investigate voter fraud. From NBC News reporting in March 2021, at a press conference with Rudy Giuliani, she alleged a coordinated conspiracy using voting systems, including Dominion machines, which she baselessly claimed were created to rig elections for Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez died in 2013, 7 years before the 2020 election. According to PolitiFact from November 2020, Powell told radio host Mark Levin, "I've got a first-hand witness. He was present for the creation of the system for this specific purpose of falsifying election results for Hugo Chavez and then Nicolas Maduro." So Sidney Powell claimed that a man who died in 2013 somehow rigged the 2020 election. And then in October 2023, something happened. According to NPR, Sidney Powell, a one-time attorney for former President Donald Trump, who helped orchestrate his legal efforts to try to overturn his 2020 election defeat, has pleaded guilty in the sweeping Georgia election interference case. From NBC News, Powell pleaded guilty to 6 misdemeanor counts of conspiracy to commit election interference in Fulton County Superior Court as part of a deal reached with prosecutors. Powell agreed to serve 6 years of probation and pay a $6,000 fine and $2,700 in restitution to the state of Georgia. She also agreed to submit an apology letter to the citizens of Georgia and to testify at related court proceedings. What did she actually do? According to NPR, Powell pleaded guilty to 6 counts of conspiracy to commit intentional interference with performance of election duties. Powell directed an IT firm to access voting equipment in rural Coffee County, Georgia. This was after the election, when Trump's allies were searching for evidence of fraud, and state investigators later determined that they were able to access a server, ballot scanners, memory cards. So she pleaded guilty. She admitted she interfered with the election. And according to Wikipedia, on October 31st, 2023, the Georgia Secretary of State's Chief Operating Officer, Gabriel Sterling, displayed the final payment check from Powell at a press conference. He said that the check represented an admission that Powell's claims against Georgia's voting machines were false. He said, "If you didn't believe the 3 recounts, if you didn't believe the investigations, if you didn't believe the court cases, this check shows you she says, yes, I lied." Sidney Powell paid restitution to Georgia, and according to the state's chief operating officer, that payment was an admission that she lied about Georgia's voting machines. So let me give you the timeline of Sidney Powell's journey. In 2020, Sidney Powell claims Hugo Chavez, who died in 2013, rigged voting machines. In 2021, she promotes the Italian military satellite conspiracy theory. In October 2023, Powell pleads guilty to election interference. She pays restitution to Georgia, which the state says is an admission she lied. And now, in January 2026, she's working for Trump's Department of Justice, investigating elections. The woman who pleaded guilty to trying to steal the election is now investigating the election. On Wednesday, the FBI raids Georgia elections offices based on Trump's conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. These are the same conspiracy theories that Sidney Powell spread, the same conspiracy theories she later pleaded guilty for acting on. On Wednesday night, Trump posts that Obama overthrew the government he was running, and that Italian military satellites hacked voting machines. And on Thursday morning, a DOJ official posts a photo with Sidney Powell, the woman who pleaded guilty to election interference and paid restitution, admitting she lied. According to Alternet, one of Trump's most aggressive supporters after he lost Georgia to Democrat Joe Biden in 2020 was attorney Sidney Powell, who promoted a range of conspiracy theories on the election results in Georgia. And now, Powell is resurfacing after an FBI search in that state. So the people who tried to steal the election are now investigating the election. Let me break down why this matters on multiple levels. First, the pure comedy angle. Trump posted that the sitting president in 2016 tried to overthrow the government he was running. This is monumentally stupid. Obama was the president. He was the executive branch. The claim that he conspired to overthrow himself is so absurd that even low-information viewers can understand how stupid it is. Second, the corruption angle. Sidney Powell pleaded guilty to election interference. She admitted under oath that she interfered with Georgia's election. She paid restitution that the state says was an admission she lied about voting machines. And now she's back at the Department of Justice, working on election-related matters. A woman who admitted under oath to election interference is now investigating elections for the Department of Justice. Third, the cognitive decline angle. The claim that a sitting president overthrew his own government shows Trump either can't do basic logic or thinks his supporters can't. Either way, it's revealing. And fourth, the pattern. Trump claims the election was stolen. Sidney Powell spreads conspiracy theories. Powell pleads guilty to election interference. Trump raids Georgia elections offices years later. Powell reappears at DOJ. Trump posts that Obama overthrew himself. This is the loop. Conspiracy theory, crime, conviction, back to conspiracy theory. And the specific conspiracy theories are so stupid they border on parody. Hugo Chavez, who died in 2013, rigged the 2020 election. Italian military satellites hacked voting machines. The intelligence came from someone connected to Somali pirates, and Obama overthrew the government he was president of. This would be funny if it weren't terrifying, because these are the people investigating elections. These are the people with the power of the FBI and the Department of Justice behind them. When Ed Martin posted that photo with Sidney Powell saying, "Good morning, America, how are you?" That wasn't just a social media post. That was a taunt. That was an assertion that accountability didn't stick, that they interfered with the election, faced consequences, and are now back in positions of power. And there's nothing you can do about it. Except there is. We can document it, we can call it out, we can make sure people understand what's happening. Because when Trump posts that Obama overthrew himself, that's not just a dumb conspiracy theory. That's a window into how he thinks, or doesn't think. And when Sidney Powell shows up at the Department of Justice after pleading guilty to election interference, that's not just corruption. That's them telling you they don't care about the law. Let me know what you think in the comments. Does it surprise you that Trump claimed Obama overthrew his own government? What does it mean that Sidney Powell is back at DOJ after pleading guilty? And how do we hold people accountable when the people who committed the crimes are now investigating the crimes? Share this video. People need to know that a woman who pleaded guilty to election interference is now working for the DOJ investigating elections. They need to understand that Trump is posting conspiracy theories so stupid that even ABC News is calling them out for basic logic failures. We're building something here. A community that tracks the absurdity, documents the corruption, and refuses to let this become normal. Because it's not normal. None of this is normal. Thanks for spending a few minutes digging into this with me. If you want more grounded, progressive commentary without the outrage bait, subscribe and stick around. Every time you watch, share, and engage, it helps build a community that believes democracy is worth understanding and defending. I'll see you in the next video.